Hi, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Jorge.
And we're here to tell you about our podcast, Daniel and Jorge
Explain the Universe.
Think of it as your chance to sit at a bar with some cool scientists,
that's us,
and getting to ask them all the things you always wanted to know about space, stars, particles, the cosmos.
So look for Daniel and Jorge Explain the Universe.
Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Christina Lynn Podcast.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? Do you know how much I make a year? You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am the danger. I am the one who knocks.
Not many of you know that this is not my first podcast. I used to have one with a recording studio called Roc ROX that is still around and is great. Scott Fitzgerald is fantastic. And back then, I would talk to people around Rochester that I found fascinating who owned a business or just had stories that I wanted to get out there. One of those stories was Stephanie Armstrong. And here is the audio back from 2018.
Just don't even look at it.
It's the Roc ROX Podcast. Conversations about local Rochester businesses, how they came to be, and why. And now your host, the badass marketing fairy, Christina.
Hey, everyone. I am here with Stephanie of BiQi Marketing. Now, Stephanie is one of those people that I actually have met naked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a party.
Yes. There's, that's a whole other podcast that we're going to do. Again, the After Hours podcast, we'll talk about that more. But in the few moments that we spent together, Stephanie made a great impression on me as just how much of a good spirit and hard worker you are, and just the ethic is obvious. I mean, even though meeting you in the circumstances that we were, as informal and casual as it was, you're someone that's always stuck in my head as somebody to look up to and to kind of be following. And I that's a reason that I reached out to you, and I really wanted you here to talk about that, because I think that there are so many stories in Rochester that are not told or not heard. A lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs don't understand that there is a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Yes.
And all it does is challenge them, and then they back down and they think it shouldn't be this hard. And that's a big part of why I'm bringing people into, is just to kind of create that community of everybody goes through it, and you've got to work hard. And if you're not working hard with good intention, what are you doing?
That's right.
And again, I would just love to showcase people like you that prove my point there. So tell us a little bit about where you came from, why you're doing what you're doing, anything you want to share. I want to hear it.
Yeah, well, I just realized as you were talking, I'm like, gosh, I was having a really intense conversation as I was standing there butt naked getting spray tanned. Like, wow, we did have pretty deep conversation.
Yes.
Very comfortable with that, I guess.
It's true.
But yeah, I'm from the Rochester city. Grew up on Box Art Street. Really, there's absolutely nothing notable about my background. Actually, it's like the opposite of notable. I'm totally one of the kids that wasn't supposed to make it. Mm-hmm. I had some interesting years as a young person, for sure. Just, the time growing up in poverty, growing up, during the cocaine epidemic, that totally affected me, my family, and really everyone around us at the time, the 80s. It was a tough time for a lot of people, so it really influenced how I grew up and what I got exposed to. But from a young age, I definitely knew I was a worker, Mm-hmm. We didn't have the nicest of everything, but I was also a dreamer. Yep. So I remember my grandmother used to say, you got a champagne taste and a Coors Light budget. Like, you don't have no money for the things that you want. And I'd say, that's all right, Grandma, because someday I'm going to get them,
Yep.
So I wasn't afraid to work for what I wanted.
Yep.
Like, I remember this Roc-A-Wear jacket. It was like this $500
yes.
Roc-A-Wear jacket. I was in love with it. I was like, I will pick up shifts until I make enough money that I can get that jacket. And that's just, my mindset's just always been that way. So,
and it's so rare these days to have anybody like that because everything's so instant.
Quick
It's
and
instant
easy.
gratification. It's, I don't need to work too much. I just can become a YouTube star and get the Ferrari I want or whatever. But, it's so important to keep telling people that you do have to work and put the time in.
And sometimes you'll work for more than the reward that you will get back. And you have got to understand investment. You've got to understand that that's how it works sometimes, because sometimes you will, oh my gosh, you will sow and sow and sow and sow and sow and sow and sow, and nothing will happen.
Yeah. Yep.
And it can be painful. And I had someone bring up a great story to me a few weeks ago. He said, do you know how the bamboo tree grows? And I said, no. And he said, well, they plant it and they water it for 5 years, every day for 5 years. And for 5 years, nothing even sprouts out of the ground. And then that first year, it shoots up 90 feet.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And it was so it was David Mamano, actually. Shout out to
he's
David
a great
Mamano.
guy. Oh, I love David. Yes. He gave me my first job ever. And I actually had to remind him of that a couple weeks ago. Yeah. When I was 15. But continue on. Yeah.
He's so great. So yeah, it is a lot of work, especially, entrepreneurship. And the way that I look at it is it's like, I get to live in total freedom.
Yep.
And it's not always, that doesn't always mean I'm vacationing.
Right. Or without difficulty. Freedom
Totally.
doesn't mean without difficulty.
My freedom means I can get my kids on the bus every day.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to go to daycare anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My freedom means I can take care of my health as I need to, and not just when my job allows for it.
Yep.
My freedom is I can do what I feel like is truly best for my clients rather than sell a package that came down from corporate.
Yep.
That's what freedom is to me. And that might mean that I work Saturday night at 9 p.m. or Christmas morning.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that's worth it to me. So it's like, what's worth
And
it
it's
to
also
you?
still your choice.
Totally.
You're accepting that could be the thing that you need to do in order to keep the way that you want to live, and that's so important.
Absolutely. And, I was talking to my boys actually last week because sometimes mom puts in a lot of hours, and I'm so blessed and so lucky and grateful that I can do that from home thanks to the power of the internet, and what that provides for us is absolutely incredible. I can do 90% of what I do, I can do from anywhere in the world.
Yep.
As long as I have a Wi-Fi connection. And
That's
I'm
amazing.
so grateful for that.
It's amazing.
So it's like I'm putting in a lot of hours, but truly my kids are in the other room,
Yep.
and that's such a blessing to be able to have that. So we just talk sometimes, and I just let them know, I know I'm working a lot right now, but you'll have choices. I didn't have choices. I had to do what I had to do for as long as I had to do it.
Sure.
Until I could get to a place where now I can work for myself and I can build my own dream.
So would you say that you had a tipping point more based out of the way that you were brought up, or was it just that you were going through life the way that you were going through and you just kind of suddenly or not so suddenly said, I'm done with this?
So it's an interesting story, as they all normally are.
That's what I want. Yeah.
So I had I had a tough time growing up. I was actually in 2 youth behavioral centers as a kid. So it's not quite juvenile detention, but it's like the step before.
Sure.
And I was just acting out. I had a lot of behavioral issues. Really, I was hurting inside and I needed to heal. That's what really needed to happen, just to be told. I went on and I did what I thought I was supposed to do, which was go to college, get married. My family's from Sicily, so I was married very young, but it was older than the other women in my family, so I thought I was doing something right because they were married at 16 and I got married at 19.
Oh
so
my gosh.
That's how it happens
That
over there, though,
blows
right?
my mind, though. I can't. Oh.
Right. It's just insane. But I just didn't we're not in the old country.
Right.
That's not how things work in America.
Oh my gosh.
Not even that. So I got married young. I had my kids young. I got divorced young. And at the time I was doing marketing, but I was doing it for nonprofit agencies because I've always had a heart to give back. That was always really important to me. And it just, when I became a single mom, it was I love what I'm doing, but it's just, I can't provide for them.
Right.
And I had people be like, oh, you're a single mom, just go down and get some assistance. And I was like, that's not in my blood.
No.
I work for what I want, you know, and I was like, I will just work harder until I get it done, you know, and that's really what I did. And I landed up in broadcast television by the grace of God. At the time, it was a better lifestyle than I could provide doing almost anything else legal.
Fair point. Yes. That might be a resounding theme as the podcasts go on, but that's very true. Yes.
You know, so at the time it was like this, it was a really wonderful opportunity. I really loved what I was doing. Digital was really just getting started. Actually, at the time we called it e-media. And what it really meant was like these really crappy banner ads that no one ever clicked on. But it was like, it was just getting started, but I was really fascinated by it because when I was involved in marketing from like a more of an entertainment standpoint, I used social media to grow my platform, and it got me booked for Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. It got me booked for David's Bridal. Like I was getting like solid gigs by marketing myself through social media. So I already had kind of like a head for it. So as it grew and grew and grew, I just kept finding myself like really drawn to it and really authentically really interested in it. I just found it super fascinating. And right when it started to really start to take off, which would have been around 2015 when it started getting big, in the middle of the year, I had a spontaneous carotid artery dissection and a stroke.
Holy.
So I was 29 at the time. They still don't know what caused it. It does have like a 93% mortality rate. So you're not, I mean, just the dissection has a 93% mortality rate. So it's like you're not expected to live. And then I had like a stroke on top of that, which that like, I think that kills people too.
Well, especially in that situation. I mean, my goodness.
So there for a while, like, they didn't know if I would make it. It was, you know, not to be like melodramatic, but it was pretty serious. Like we went through end of life decisions. We made arrangements for my kids. Like I told them how long I didn't want to be on a machine, which isn't very long. I think I said I don't want it at all.
All at 29.
At 29. My boys were 8 and 5.
Oh, so they had a little bit of an understanding of the severity.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't, you know, they're 8 and 5, but still.
For sure. My older one, like,
how do you explain that?
It was really rough.
Yeah.
It was really, really rough. They're great. They're like super mature and very loved and very supported. So they handled it really well, thank God. But it was just tough. So I was out of work at the time for 6 months. It was fine because I was smart. Like I didn't just have like a regular disability. Like I had purchased additional, you know, programs just in case anything, or not programs, policies, just in case anything happened to me.
Sure.
So we were like fine, you know, but physically I really had to recover. And when I went back broadcast, it was bad. It was the first quarter in a really long time that we had seen such massive cuts to budgets. And it was big companies like McDonald's, you know, and they always lead the way. They're always the ones that lead like you can watch and see what they do and know it's going to trickle down.
I
the
actually
line.
think I remember this period of time because it was just, I think it was around when I was in college and considering marketing myself. And then everything was getting cut to the point that, you know, the resounding theme that kept being told to me was the first thing cut anywhere is marketing.
Yep.
Always. And I was in college thinking, okay, well then what the hell am I doing? You know, like if I work at McDonald's and then they cut marketing first and I was making 6 figures, but then I'm gone, what's my point?
Right.
You know, and I totally remember that period of time.
And I mean, it's still going. Right?
Yeah,
like
it's true.
It's still happening. No one really wants to talk about it.
Right.
No one really wants to admit to it. And like, it's fine because I'm not in that industry, but I was just, at the time, I was definitely like still weak.
Sure.
Because it takes your brain about 2 years to recover from a stroke.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's like it was 6 months after that.
Jeez.
You know, so I was still like having a lot of physical problems.
Sure.
But, you know, I have 2 kids to take care of. So I was just watching and like I knew where it was going. And because it was, you know, almost all of them are owned by corporations, you know, so I know the system. Like stuff's going to come down from corporate. Whether or not it's applicable to the marketplace, I'm going to have to sell a certain amount of those to hit my quotas. And if I don't hit my quotas, I'm going to be in trouble. I may lose accounts. They might cut my, you know, pay. Like there's consequences for that. So I really was at this really crazy point where like going through this medical, I mean, there were hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills. Like I went through my savings.
I can't imagine.
It was nuts. Like, I had all my savings was gone. Like, I knew for sure that where I was, it was not going to be a fun place as the spending continued to decline. It was very stressful. My blood pressure started going up, and my doctor was like, you got to leave.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, I remember like crying. I was like bawling in her office, and I was like, what am I going to do and like make this much money? Because I was living very comfortably at the time. And for a single mom with 2 little boys, like that was this badge of honor that I was wearing.
It was your security.
Totally.
It was the definition and the only security maybe that you felt.
Totally. And I've always, as a single mother, because I've been a single mother since 2010, so 8 years. And I haven't dated much, and most of the people around me know that. But I was really, really focused on providing them with a great lifestyle myself, you know, and someone I'm sure will come into the picture at some point and continue to add to that. But I wanted to do it myself first.
Yes. Yep.
That was really important to me.
Yep.
And I also wanted to show other single moms that you're not doomed to this horror story that they show on TV, like poor you, like this pity thing. And like, don't get me wrong, like it is tough. And there are women out there that are suffering and struggling and working so hard. And like, if that's you, if you're listening to this, like continue to have faith, keep going. I just wanted to show them that, like, you didn't have to live like that. Like, you could have more, and it might be harder. You might have to give up your social life. You might not date for 8 years. You know, you might give some things up, but it would pay off, and you can do it.
And it's a conscious decision, I feel, especially when it comes to relationships. I mean, something that I've myself in the past couple of years I've been thinking about is, you know, what's more important? Is it my relationship with others or my relationship with myself? And that's very much what you're talking about too. And it's just exactly what you just said is the minute that you decide to put your relationship with yourself first, then the person that will appreciate it will show up at the time that they should.
Exactly.
And it's never something that anybody should be holding against themselves. Like, oh, I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not married at whatever age. Like all of those expectations do nothing but create, you know, a cortisol, you know, increase. And you're just stressed beyond belief because you're trying to live up to expectations that aren't real.
Right.
And don't apply to you. So that's huge.
So it was a tough. It was a tough decision because I've got a doctor looking me in my face telling me if you keep your really great paying, secure, comfy job, you're going to die and leave your kids with nothing. I mean, literally, like she was like, you will die. You will not live through that a second time. Your symptoms are getting scary. You got to make a choice. And I had spent all my savings on my medical. I literally had nothing other than my laptop and this little hustler's mentality I've always had, you know. And
can't teach it. You can't teach it.
And it felt very like my back was against the wall. Like I knew that. I remember I think I talked to my dad and my stepmom and I was like, listen, like I got to at least go for it and I might fail. And if I do, I'm moving back in with you. Because I don't have anything left.
To which they said, we hope you succeed. Yeah,
you know,
right.
my dad, my stepmom, and my mom have always been like completely punch drunk on supporting whatever I wanted to do at that particular point in my life. So they were like, do it. Like, we're behind you. Like, if you have to move in, we'll just move you in.
Oh, that's amazing.
But they were like, but you won't.
Yeah, no, that's true.
They knew. They were like, but you won't.
Yep.
You know, you've got it. So now that was almost 3 years ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Almost 3 years ago. And it's been an incredible journey. You know, it really just started out like me and my laptop. And now we have a team of 13 people.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, we've serviced over 50 companies from Colorado to Florida to New York, you know, and a bunch in between. And we just keep going. And it has been absolutely incredible.
So tell a little bit about what you offer with your business.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I have to think of a new word of what to call us because I realized like 2 weeks ago that it's just evolved into something that's so much more than marketing that I don't know that a word for it exists yet. So I'm like thinking about it. But, you know, when we started, it was really about focusing on, you know, full service digital strategy, digital marketing. The problem that I saw that needed to be addressed really quickly was that digital marketers were not working in tandem. So like even for the companies that realized I do need SEO or I do need search engine marketing, I need PPC, like they may not even know what it means, but you know, I do need social media. For the business owner that realizes that, a lot of times what they will do is they will go piece it out.
Yep.
So this one does this and that one does that. And from a digital perspective, so much is lost.
Yes.
When they're not working in tandem, because your SEO person, you know, or your SEM person might find keywords that the other one hadn't thought about. And if they're targeting the same keywords, not only is it going to bring your cost down, but it's going to make it work a lot more effectively.
Yep.
You know, so there were so many things like this that were going on that when I really reflected, I'm sitting here thinking like there hasn't been a marketing medium like this ever before.
Yep.
So they don't even know the very intrinsic nature of how this works, or that they're losing a ton of money by it not working cohesively.
My God, you just spoke my heart. Like, it's so hard to explain that to anyone. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head.
But it's so, because it is so new. Now, now, when you really think about this, so the Facebook ad platform, not the Facebook for business, because that's existed for a while, but the Facebook ad platform was born spring of 2016. So we're literally talking 2 years and 4 months ago. And now it does $1 billion a quarter.
Yep.
That's it. What business do you know that in 2 years goes from zero to $1 billion? That's $4 billion a year.
I mean, I can't even comprehend it. Like, I'm still trying to figure that out. Like,
so the evolution of this, like how much it's grown and changed now, the same thing goes for any type of technology, is it's growing and changing so fast. I have friends that work in the actual tech, like software development world, and they're like, it's so hard to explain because at this point, the humans aren't even creating the technology.
Right.
The technology is creating the technology.
Yes.
So it's happening at such this very rapid pace that unless you're on top of this every day and watching what's happening and not just watching it, but like you have to actually be doing it.
And understanding it. Yes, you have to be interacting with it. Yes, absolutely.
You know, they can't teach this in college.
No, and I was just going to say this point. I took a course at MCC that was music business, okay? And the first thing that the guy said to me on the first day, the whole class, he goes, "You've already lost if you want to be in music business because you're sitting in this room." He's like, "Everything I'm about to teach you is now probably old. It's probably completely different from what we're doing. So basically, this is a history class." And he said to us, he goes, "There are people who have been in New York City their entire lives, who have worked 15 years in the music industry, that are trying to get the job that you think that this degree is going to let you walk into." That was the biggest eye-opening. Like, you're a sophomore in college and you're thinking that you're doing the right thing and moving towards the right, you know, track to do what you want to do. And you have someone say that to you. But he was right. And that I actually reflect on that a lot ever since then, just like what you said with marketing, even more so. In fact, it's a lot of my time is trying to educate myself on the new trends and how they interact with each other and how I can perfect the way that it's used. And it's a beast, and and so many people are just like, "Oh, I just need someone to take care of the social media and the marketing and the advertising and the graphic creation and the content creation." And it's just a part-time job, right? It's like 15 hours a week, you know? You know.
Crazy.
Yes.
It's just one platform can take 40, 50 hours a month. I mean, to do it well. Now, there was recently a study that was published by MIT, which I was so excited to see that MIT published it. I was like, because we've been waiting for like hard data, right? But like the stuff is still relatively new. It's like 2 years old.
It's hard to quantify marketing in general.
Right.
So that's also another luxury that's happening right now, is that we can, with Facebook ads, say, look, you did reach this amount of people, but it's even harder to quantify it any other way.
Yeah. This is so amazing because you can track like every conversion. So like literally like I can say, hey, I brought you one client, last month he had a 20% increase in leads for the month that we can directly correlate from Facebook ads.
I saw this on your site. I saw it in your results. That blew my mind because I was like, no other marketing agencies, they can claim something,
right,
but they don't have numbers. And I love that. I love it.
You can ask, we got Will is over here, our cameraman. I am a numbers junkie. My VP, G, who, shout out to G. G is, I literally could not live life without her. She's like the best friend that you could have ever possibly asked for. I don't know what I did to get so lucky to have her, not only as the best friend, but as our vice president, because she's amazing. But she calls me Rain Man. Because I am such a numbers junkie. Like, I love to dig into them because, from a marketing standpoint, what we are always up against is we are battling to prove our worth.
Yes.
And I mean, from a business standpoint, that's one thing, but you're a human.
Yeah.
So like it's business, but like you're a human, and there are so many people that struggle with feelings of self-worth that when you're in a marketing position and you're constantly having to prove your worth, defend your worth, show it can have an emotional weight
completely
on you.
Completely.
Even if I'm very confident. Like, we had a whole business conversation while you spray tan me while I was butt naked. But like, I'm pretty confident, and there have been times that I have just like hung my head, like I felt so defeated because I couldn't get the information that I needed. So now I'm very meticulous when I set up to measure everything that happens, because I can say things like, hey, like people will say, oh, business was slow last month, and I can pull it up. Well, that's interesting because your leads were up 20%. Facebook brought in 44 of those. Those are valued at $2,500 a piece. So that's, a pretty significant return on investment.
For anyone in business, they don't understand how crazy that conversation to be had is. Because in the past, it really wasn't like you're marketing and you're going, this is just what I've done. And then you say, you had an increase of business on this one, week, and maybe it was due to me, but I'm going to say it was because I have no other way to prove it. And I just get the signal. We have 5 minutes left. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody?
I mean, we love what we do. We feel like we are ushering in a real new way. Like, it really can be, we call it a harmonious revolution of how we do business. We are very passionate about conscious capitalism and social entrepreneurism, which means
even social capitalism.
Yes.
This is another great concept.
I love that too.
Yes.
But what's really important to us is that we give back, that we make the world a better place with what we do, that we use our gift for good. It also means that we don't partner with people whose values don't align with ours. Business integrity is very important to us. And the truth is, it doesn't matter how good of a marketer I am, and I'm pretty good. If the
She's so humble too, yes.
If the customers have a terrible experience, it doesn't matter how many leads I drive there. It's going to kill your business because they're going to write bad reviews about you.
Yes.
So we really have to be on the same page and understand, that we're here to provide something of value and of service to someone, give them a great experience, improve their life somehow.
Not magicians, marketers,
We are not magicians. I cannot change the fact if your receptionist answers the phone very rudely. It has nothing to do with the marketing.
Provides a weird vibe. We can't change that. Can't fix things, but we can enhance.
Exactly.
And we can promote the good.
You jump and you build a parachute on the way down. That's the way that it works.
I love that.
I wish that I could tell you that there are some shortcuts or there is an easy way to get this done. But the greatest battle in entrepreneurism lies in the space in the 6 inches between your ears. And it will constantly test you. It will show you yourself, and you will be faced with, am I going to change myself, or am I going to keep acting like it's not affecting my business?
Yeah.
It is the world's most honest mirror. And when you understand that and you do things like we have coaches, we live and die by our coaches because it is a mental challenge.
Yeah.
So surround yourself with people that lift you up. If there are any crabs in a barrel get them out, cut them loose. God bless you, but you gotta go. But it's not going to be easy. You just don't give up.
Yep.
That's it. You just don't give up, and you surround yourself with people that want to see you win.
Well, I appreciate you so much. I hope you know that. I know we haven't been in contact much. I do stalk you, and I'm very proud of everything that you do.
Thank you.
Once again, Stephanie Armstrong with BiQi Marketing.
Yep.
So you got to check them out. The website is BiQiMarketing.com.
Yes.
BiQi Marketing.com.
That's right.
I need to give a shout out to Roc ROX, where we're recording, for making this possible, and to Scott, who's in the back, Fitz over there, and thank you to Will for coming and hanging out with us too. Thank you for having me. He says. I love it.
We're talking that deep voice.
Well,
thank you for having me.
Oh
as
my
well.
gosh, my pleasure. You got to come back. We got to do more.
I would love to.
We should do our own little marketing bitch session. I mean, come on.
I will never tell anyone's name or business, but I will tell all their business.
Ooh, that is a good tagline for a new podcast. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much.
The Christina Lynn Podcast.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? Do you know how much I make a year? You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am the danger. I am the one who knocks.